Hey guys, I'm E, and here's the thing. We're in my editing studio today because I want to show you exactly how to edit amazing hype reels, just like the ones you see every day on channels like ESPN or on the big jumbotrons at major sporting events. Over the course of my career in sports videography, I've produced a lot of them in many different sports. Anything from hockey to basketball, football, tennis, soccer, you name it. So today I'm going to teach you the technique that I use all the time, as well as a few secret tricks that I've learned over the years. Alright, so before we get into it, I just wanted to bring up the fact that the reason why I'm doing a video on this particular topic today is because I recently asked the members of my sports videography group on Facebook which topic they wanted me to cover in my next tutorial, and this is what they asked for. So if you have a question of your own or a topic that you'd like me to cover in a future video, I strongly suggest that you join our Facebook group where you'll be able to easily interact with me and many other videographers from around the world. Okay, so let's get into it. But first...
get caffeinated, bitches, because we're going to be here for a while.
Yes, that's definitely a good advice to start with. Not necessarily the caffeine per se, but more so establishing the fact that editing a hype reel, even a short one, will always be a long process. Never assume that a 2-minute video shouldn't take you much more than 2 hours to produce. It could take you 2 days, it could take you 2 weeks. I'm not here to make you faster today, I'm here to make you better. But obviously, the better you get at it, the faster you'll become. So speaking of time, the first thing you should decide is the length of your video. In my opinion, a hype reel should never be much longer than 2 minutes. And the sweet spot is somewhere in between 90 seconds and 2 minutes. But here's the thing, if you film the content of your hype reel yourself, there's a very good chance that you'll try to make your video much longer than that. What happens is that you feel emotionally attached to your footage because you spent so much time, effort, and resources into it, and you think that that's a good enough reason to use most of it. But trust me, it's not. You need to forget everything that happened during the filming and look at it from the viewer's perspective. We, the viewers, have no idea how much time you spent on all this, and to be quite honest, we couldn't care less. The only thing we want is to be highly entertained for 2 minutes. So if instead we end up being mildly entertained for 5 or 6, it's a big waste of everyone's time, including yours.
Wankers! Fucking embarrassing. Waste of our time. Fucking waste of our time.
Now that we have a duration, we need a music track. In my opinion, the best music tracks are the ones that gradually build up into a climatic finish. Or it can start with a high intensity, go low in the middle, and then go back up again. Either way, the key here is the change in the tempo. You don't want your tempo to remain the same the whole way through. You want it to go up and down with ideally a few big bang moments along the way. Here's what I mean by a big bang moment.
Second, don't you tell me what you think that I can be. I'm the one at the sail, I'm the master of my sea. Oh, ooh, the master of my sea. Oh, are you with me now? Say that you.
By the way, if you find a track that you like that does have that tempo variety but just doesn't have that big bang moment, don't worry about it. I have a great trick that will make up for that. But I'll get to it just a bit later once I've explained how to properly build your timeline. So once you're into your editing program, you've got all your footage organized, you've laid down your music track on your timeline and edited it to a reasonable duration, you're finally ready to start editing your footage. One crucial mistake that most people do is to add their footage on the timeline chronologically. By that, I mean that they'll simply add in the best moments from a game in the order that they happened. Or if they are dealing with multiple games, they'll add all the highlights from game 1, then all the highlights from game 2, and so on. That's another terrible mistake, because again, the key is variety. So first off, the simplest and most effective way to start is to go through all your footage and take every single piece of footage that you see as hype reel worthy and add it into a separate timeline. Once you've done that, you can go through that timeline and start adding clips to your actual hype reel. I usually start by adding the biggest plays first. I take the 1, 2, 3 biggest plays I've got, the most entertaining ones, the flashy ones, the violent ones, and I line them up perfectly with the most impactful moments in my music track.
All my life I've barely spoken. Your words have been so broken. I've been under your hypnosis. Why did I sip that potion? I'm so done with holy ghosting. My birth, it is an omen. Lay me down up in the ocean until you see no motion. Second thing, second, don't you tell me what you think that I can be. I'm the one at the sail. I'm the master of my sea. Oh, ooh, the master of my sea. Oh, ooh.
This technique also includes adding one of your biggest plays at the very end of your video, because there's nothing more disappointing than a hype reel that really gets me going for 2/3 of it, but then sort of drags on at the end because the editor ran out of good content. Oh, and like I said before, if your music track doesn't have those big bang moments that we so desperately need, I have an easy way to fix that. Just go to YouTube and search for trailer impact sound effect. You'll find a bunch of videos just like these ones here. They basically offer a variety of impact sound effects like the ones you hear all the time in big blockbuster movie trailers. So all you need to do is pick a few ones that you like, download them using a third-party app or website, and place them on your timeline where they need to be. I actually used this technique for the trailer of a UFC documentary I produced recently. Let me know what you think.
The minute I saw this kid, I was like, holy shit, this is really good. I like this. Then you hear him talk. I like that too.
I don't throw in hope. I aim and fire. Down the barrel.
He's very ambitious, which I love.
Oh, he's hurt, man.
Oh, another knockdown!
You know, this guy wants to fucking fight everybody right now.
So once I'm done editing the big impactful moments in my hype reel, I start working on my intro. The intro is usually a bit slower than the rest, so it doesn't need the most exciting footage per se, but it does need something that will demand the viewer's attention. So you'll probably have an establishing shot in there, but the rest of it should be mainly highly emotional close-up shots. Once I'm happy with my intro, I then start to fill in the gaps, and that's where my legendary attention to detail pays off. Because the more plays you can cram in there, the better, but at the same time, you want them to work seamlessly with the music, which means that most beats should be perfectly synced either with a cut, or with some type of impact in your footage, like a tackle, a catch, a block, or a ball hitting the back of the net. And when I say sync, I mean perfect sync. Couple of frames off is not good enough. You want to be on the money every time. Now here's how you manage to cram a lot of clips into a very limited amount of time. Number one, only use the part of the clip that people want to see. If it's a tackle, for example, don't show me the 5 steps that led to that tackle. I'd rather see 3 big tackles back to back than one long ass play that leads to one tackle. Number 2, don't be afraid to use jump cuts, because most great plays are visually interesting at the beginning and at the end, but not so much in the middle. Let's take a touchdown pass, for example. The pass is great, the catch is awesome, but following the ball in the air from one to the other is a bit unnecessary. Same thing with a 3-point shot. Just show me the release and show me the ball going through the hoop. But just make sure that you edit your jump cuts on the beat. If you want, you can even spice things up a little bit by adding effects over your jump cuts. And my last trick to help you fit more clips into a short amount of time is to speed them up by 5 to 15%. When your clips are really short, no one is going to notice. And not only does that allow you to fit more clips into your edit, but it also makes the players look faster and better than they are. So that's pretty much it for the nitty-gritty of the editing part of this video, but let me give you a few more pointers before we finish.
Oh!
First off, never settle for good enough, because a hype reel is such a concentrated product that if a few things are just a little bit off, to the viewers, the whole thing will feel extremely off. Also, be hard on yourself. Don't be afraid to scrap 2-3 hours of work and start fresh with a new idea if the one you've been working on so far doesn't quite work.
Oh, thank you very much.
Also, it's always helpful to have someone else take a look at your video and give you some feedback. But if you do that, ask someone that you know will tell it to you like it is, not someone who's just gonna shower you with compliments no matter what. Basically, don't ask your mom. On that note, shout out to my mom, salut maman, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video and hopefully you learned a thing or two. And if you did, please make sure you subscribe to this channel and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.